Hey guys, Simon here bringing you more MTG lore. In today's video, let's continue looking at the developing story that is the Gatewatch. Previously, our heroes Gideon, Jace, and Nissa were all captured by the demon planeswalker Ob Nixilis. Their fates looked dimmed until they were rescued by the pyromancer Chandra, who is herself a planeswalker. Working as a team, the four champions managed to defeat the reignited demon, forcing him to retreat to the Blind Eternities, leaving Zendikar for good. Although victorious, our heroes still face a very grim reality. Zendikar now faces two Eldrazi titans rather than one. As Gideon exits the cave from which he had just thoroughly been beaten by a demon, he's met by a more familiar opponent. Scores of faceless Eldrazi spawn. His muscles ache and every strike is a testament to his resolve. But this time, he doesn't face the endless horde alone. The Mind Mage, Jace Belleron, the man who had willingly joined Gideon on this godforsaken world, now stood beside him in true combat. Nissa Ravane, a planeswalker born of this world with a strange, almost spiritual connection to the land itself, using that connection to rid her home of its invaders. And Chandra, the rebellious pyromancer who had originally refused to accompany him on Zendikar, had finally arrived, and was the only reason any of the others still lived. Together, they swept through the sea of monsters like an unstoppable force, but in the distance, an even greater force lingered. As they stood out on the mountaintop, they could see them, not so much walking together, but still close enough to move in tandem. It was the source of all their pain, frustrations, and worry, the Eldrazi Titans, Kozilek and Ulamog. Behind them, the Titans left their own distinct brand of nothingness, waste that swallowed the life of Zendikar. Ulamog left the all-familiar chalky white desolation, while Kozilek's path was riddled by strange, glowing geometric squares, a complete distortion from what the land had once been. Gideon saw Nissa collapse to the ground, her love for Zendikar crushing her body at the sight of its destruction. Hope is a powerful thing, especially if it's shattered. Gideon made his way over to the elf, but Jace managed to pull him aside before he gave her more meaningless hope. Jace was right to stop him. What could Gideon say? We'll get them. Victory is still within reach. These are all things Gideon would have said, but as of right now, none of them could be further from the truth. Jace pulled Gideon close as to whisper something to him. It was an alternate option. Perhaps it was time to seriously consider leaving Zendikar to its fate. The Mind Mage should have perhaps considered telling Gideon this through telepathy, for Nissa was able to hear his words. She sprung up, fists clenched at her side with green magic exploding from her eyes. This was her home. She would never abandon it to these monsters. Jace, the more analytical of the two, countered with the reality of their situation. It was nearly impossible to win. Even Ugin, the spirit dragon, who had more experience with the Eldrazi than any of them, believed it was impossible. No amount of logic could change her mind. Nissa was from Zendikar, and she would stay to defend it, even if that meant her death. The others could leave if they wanted to, but she was staying there. Jace turned his attention towards Chandra, trying to find anyone to agree with him. Chandra had nothing binding her to Zendikar. She could have left by now, but even still, she stayed. For all they knew, they could be the last living things on Zendikar. How could any of them stand against not one, but two Eldrazi Titans? Gideon stepped forward. Perhaps none of them could, but maybe four of us can. Gideon stood more sure than he had ever been on Zendikar before. By working together, the four planeswalkers could overcome any threat the multiverse decided to throw at them. Look at what they'd already accomplished. They bound the Titan Ulamog, defeated a demon infused with the spark and power of an entire world. They all had a unique power, and with those powers combined, they could do anything. Chandra's fire, her fury, Nissa's connection to the land, understanding of the ley lines, Jace's quick thinking and foresight. Together, they can defeat the Eldrazi, save this world, and then save any other world that needed them, no matter how big the threat. Not just the Eldrazi and not just Zendikar. Never again, not on any other world. This I swear, for Seagate, for Zendikar and all its people. For justice and peace, I will keep watch, and when any new danger arises to threaten the multiverse, I will be there, with you three beside me. This was Gideon's oath. Jace nodded in agreement, but Nissa was the next to speak up. I have seen a world laid waste. As the Eldrazi swept over Zendikar, the land is reduced to dust and ash. Left unchecked, they will consume it and everything on it. Never again. For Zendikar and the life it nurtures, for the life of every plane, I will keep watch. Jace took a step forward. Looking at Chandra, he said, Gideon's right. The four of us have extraordinary power. We have a unique opportunity, a responsibility even, to use that power against threats like this. The Eldrazi, yes, but there are other threats that go beyond a single plane. I've heard it said that a planeswalker is someone who can always run from danger, but we are also the ones who can choose to stay. I have seen a greater danger than I could have imagined. The Eldrazi don't threaten just Zendikar. If we leave here, if we leave them alone, it could consume plane after plane until even Ravnica is laid waste. At this moment, Emrakul could be drifting through the blind eternities, looking for another plane to devour. Never again. For the sake of the multiverse, I will keep watch. To the surprise of all, Chandra herself stepped forward. The girl who couldn't commit herself to anything, who had grown so much in such a short time. Gideon saw this change. She wore it on her face. I've seen what we can do together, and Gideon's right, none of us can handle the Eldrazi alone. It's going to take the four of us in concert, combining all our magic to bring them down. Every world has its tyrants, following their own desires with no concern for the people they step on. They're no different from the Eldrazi, so I'll say it, never again. If it means that people can live in freedom, yeah, I'll keep watch with you. And on that day it came to pass. 4 planeswalkers took a solemn oath to stand together in defiance to the threats of the multiverse. But still, 2 great threats stood before them. Ulamog and Kozilek need to be dealt with. The Gatewatch is formed. Now let's see how it works in practice. And that's the latest in the story of OGW. The Gatewatch, a group of like-minded planeswalkers bound together to protect the greater multiverse, has officially begun. And with it brings a change to the way the story of MTG will unfold. From now on, future blocks and story arcs will likely have a connection to the Gatewatch. But my question to you is, do you think it's a good thing moving forward? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving a like and subbing to the channel. It goes a long way in supporting future content. You can also support this channel through Patreon and connecting with me on other social media outlets. Find those in the description below. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.